Hi everyone. This video explains how to use the estimate setup sheet. It contains 2 chapters, operation and tips. Use the video progress bar to skip to any topic. Note that this video supplements the Quick Start Guide video, which explains each step of the estimating process and describes system standards for sheet layout and handling. If you have not viewed the Quick Start video, please do so before viewing this one. Written documentation about the topics mentioned in this video is available on the support website. Click on the Knowledge Base command in the Ironworks toolbar to automatically access it. If you want our help building a master estimate, playing what-if games with your fleet's composition, or producing charge rates for a complex job, or a special client, contact us using the consulting page. Now, let's review the operation of the estimate setup sheet. The estimate setup sheet is used in step 1 of the process of building a fleet employment cost estimate from scratch. Each step of that process is covered in the Quick Start Guide video that is available on YouTube on the Ironworks ECM channel. The purpose of the estimate setup sheet is to store the settings that govern cost calculations for all machine records in the active estimate. That means that if you change a fleet-wide, cost-related setting here, it affects the cost of employment for every machine record listed in the active estimate. Estimate identification settings identify the estimate's name and describe the estimate in general terms for future reference. No cost calculations are affected by these settings. Date range settings establish the period within which the cost of all machine employment is to be calculated. To specify a date range, you must use the Specify command in the Rate Period command group of the Ironworks toolbar. Any rate period start date after January 1st of 1900 can be specified. 3 rate period duration options are available: 1, 2, and 3 years. Date range settings for the rate period can be edited at any time. The effect of the new date range on monetary cost, resource requirements, and charge rates for the fleet is automatically calculated. If you change a date range setting, be sure the scheduled cost factor values in this sheet are correct for the new rate period. And be sure forecast employment values are specified in the custody plans sheet for every machine record. Note that Ironworks automatically edits the calendar ribbon in the forecast employment table when the date range is changed and preserves as many of the old employment figures as possible. The country, holiday list, and shift arrangement settings are used to build the calendar Ironworks uses to automatically schedule the fleet's monetary cost and resource requirements by the month. The holiday settings establish which days in the date range are not work days, and the shift arrangement settings establish available employment hours per workday when Ironworks automatically calculates forecast machine utilization. Scheduled cost factor values establish the unit cost of certain types of labor and fuel needed to employ a fleet for each month in the rate period. Scheduled cost factor values must be input for every month in the rate period. Months without values cause the total cost for the rate period to be understated because the cost of a machine's employment for that month for the respective scheduled cost factor is calculated as 0. Note that you can use formulas instead of manually inputting values in the scheduled cost factor table to escalate or de-escalate monthly values. Default PM routine employment interval settings establish the forecast employment thresholds used to trigger each of 5 possible preventive maintenance routines. All 5 default values can be edited in the employment cost factor sheet for each machine record. Rent cost calculation settings establish how the daily machine rent cost value that you specify in the employment cost factors sheet is converted by Ironworks into weekly and monthly rent rates for rental periods longer than a day. Those values are in turn used by Ironworks to calculate a machine's rent cost based on its custody period and forecast employment. The CBS component cost applicability settings establish the rules for calculating the cost of the 3 types of custody, rent, lease, and own, for every machine record listed in the active estimate. The settings act as on-off switches. If a CBS cost component setting is no, that components cost for each month in the rate period is automatically set to 0 for all machine records with a matching custody type. These settings do not affect any employment cost factor values or any associated cost calculations. A no setting simply overrides the calculated total cost and reports it as 0 for the respective CBS component for all machine records with matching custody types. Now let's review some tips for using this sheet. Tip 1. Set the rate period duration as 1 year for developing standard charge rates. Then change the start date every 1 to 6 months and export the new charge rates to your job cost estimating system. That way your job cost estimates are always accurate. Set the rate period duration as 2 or 3 years for developing charge rates for long-term jobs, or for developing client-specific charge rates good for more than 1 year. 3-year-long rate periods are best for planning long-term changes in your company. For example, if you plan to ramp up construction revenue for the next 3 years, a 3-year-long rate period enables you to forecast the number of additional maintenance staff needed each year. Tip 2. Play what if games with your fleet management strategy by switching on and off certain costs. For example, switch off preventive maintenance costs to see the effect on mechanic hours for the rate period. That's all for now. Let us know if you need any more information. Thanks for watching. Bye.